since I've been doing this. Okay, we're backstage, Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, sitting next to Shannon Curfman. I feel like I've known you. Honestly, I've been following your career, and I bet you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, again, we've grown up, well, you grew up in front of our eyes.
Yes,
I keep thinking, wait a minute, she's still younger than our daughter, which is a weird thing for us.
Sure.
You started out, you recorded your debut album at 13.
Yes.
What brought you to the blues again, people have asked me, how did a white girl from Fargo, North Dakota get the blues as a young teenager? So I'm going to ask you.
Have you been to Fargo? That's going to get me in trouble.
Oh, that's all right.
No, I started following Kid Johnny Lang and the Big Bang. And Johnny kind of mentored me for a long time and exposed me to all the kings, Albert Collins, Albert King, B.B. King, everyone, all those guys. And it was just a really exciting time in the business, I think, because there were a few of us kids that came up at that point, and we all helped each other a lot, and we all kind of got to discover together, and yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, again, you and Johnny, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, there were a lot of you coming out at that time. Now, fast forward, do you see other kids in the blues? Do other people come to you, maybe, looking for mentoring? Have you found anybody like that?
Yeah, I get a lot of YouTube links sent to me of kids, covering my tunes and things like that, and that's always really cool because I was there. I've experienced what they're experiencing, and it's just such a cool time in their careers, and hopefully no one pushes them too hard, and they don't end up losing their passion for it, and that sort of thing. And that's kind of the advice I always give is you don't want it to become just business. You want to keep it about the music too, and I feel like my parents and the people that handled me back in the day that we did really well with finding that balance.
And I've always wondered that too, because again, we had a couple of albums there right away, and then there seemed like there was a gap until you came back. And honestly, I was one of them. I was Googling you. Where's Shannon? What happened to this wonderful young teenager that we were following earlier in the day? And I don't know if it's something you want to talk about or not, but you sort of went away, and I sort of wondered, well, geez, maybe she found another passion. It would have been about 17, 18, about the time you would have been getting out of high school. I thought maybe she's going to college, maybe she's raising a family. I don't know. Yeah,
I studied psychology for a while. That never really took away from my work, though. I was working the entire time. I was in. I ended up moving to LA. Me and Kenny Wayne moved there actually, and that was right after Johnny had moved there with his wife, and we were all working on albums, and all of us were in the same position where no one would release an album of ours, and they didn't want us to tour either, so it was just playing. We were all stuck in that major label game. I switched labels a couple of times, trying to find the right fit. Clive Davis is who originally signed me, and then he got outed or kicked out.
Kicked out, essentially,
yeah. From the label he created, which was Arista, and that's where I was signed. So he ended up bringing me to J Records, which we thought was great news. He was able to take, I think it was one established artist and two up-and-comers or something like that. So he took me, Alicia Keys, and someone else. Once I got there, it was about a year before we realized what was going on, and that was that they weren't doing roots music. They were doing R&B.
Right.
So then there's a legal situation and trying to get out of that, and I got to the next place, and it's just on, and like I said before, it's a real bummer when it becomes about the business as opposed to music, and I kind of struggled too because because I'm female, and two of the labels I was at, I was kind of going into the rock vein for a while, and they just said there's not room for women in rock music. And I said, boy, if that isn't incentive to write some rock songs.
No doubt.
So then I wrote my Fastlane Addiction album, and then I calmed down.
Yeah. And it was a little bit of a departure from the blues, and I was wondering if you ever were tempted to leave the genre where you were discovered in the blues and go rock, R&B, country, heaven forbid. I'm sorry, I'm a rock and blues guy. You're a rock and blues girl. Again, I've got a thing about it. But again, to try to break through, was there ever that temptation? Where did you have people in your ear saying, if we turned you into this R&B girl, we could get you on the radio kind of thing?
Yeah, I have had a president of a record label tell me that if I just would put down the guitar for a few songs and instead just showcase it as like a trick, and learn how to dance, get a boob job, get a trainer on the road. Oh yeah. So yeah.
How hard did you punch him? In your head, you did. I'm sure.
Yeah. I left that label. But gosh, what else? I don't know. It's such a wonky business.
It really is. It really is.
But it's nice to be independent now, and I'm the same way. I've always had like country offers, and just because I'm a girl with a guitar, I think, and it's nice and it's flattering, but I wouldn't be fulfilled in any way.
Right.
Unless it was some really cool, like, old school country thing, I love old school, like Patsy Cline and stuff like that. So, but no, that's just not where my head is. And I love playing, to me, what is more like classic rock. That's where my soul lies, I feel, in an super old R&B.
Yeah. And in 2000, after Fastlane Addiction, I know we had you actually booked at our Sioux Falls Jazz Fest. And all of a sudden, I got a call from the guy that puts it all together. You may again.
I was devastated.
No, because I emailed you after it happened, and I said I didn't blame you in the least.
Yeah.
Because this guy from Detroit, Bob something, decided that he really thought you had something for his band, and you became a member of Kid Rock's band.
Yeah.
And you've toured the world now for the last 4 years. How did that change your life, your perspective on music, everything? I mean, again, you went from being this young rock blues girl to all of a sudden you're sitting center stage in a room of 15, 20, 25,000 people a night and singing Picture with him. I mean, how did that, the first night, that had to have gotten some butterflies?
Yeah, that was kind of a holy shit moment, for sure. I don't know if I can say that, but whatever.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, that was kind of nerve-wracking, I guess. I've always been used to playing in front of big audiences. The bigger they are, the easier it is for me, for sure. The smaller the audience, the more I feel like everyone's watching me. So, if I had to choose between 20,000 and 20 people, I'd give anything for the 20,000 just to calm my nerves. But no, it was a really nice change for me. But I started touring with big acts when I was 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. So, but as the opener, and I actually feel like that gave me more of the spotlight than being Kid Rock's background singer.
Right.
But I really needed the break. I was kind of at my breaking point of, being the boss, and I had just become a mother. And it was just a lot. So it's nice being an employee. I've never been an employee before, and it's kind of neat.
Well, again, it takes away some of the responsibilities, and like I told you, I'm like, hey, steady paycheck, you're a young mom, why not? Go, see the world. you're not even 30 years old yet. You can always come back to this. Why not get that experience of seeing everybody every night?
Yeah.
Are you going to continue with Kid's just on a hiatus, and that's going to continue then?
You were just making a new album. It's just being finished right now. And I think we'll be on the road, for next summer.
Right.
But Bob likes to talk like he's taking big breaks, but that never really happens all that much. He's a busy guy. He's a busybody, and he likes to work. So we'll see how long we sit. But we do a lot of private shows, a lot of private events, and just spot dates, where we go to play different festivals and things.
Well, we've had you in Sioux Falls twice, and my wife over there behind the camera she is a huge Kid Rock fan, and how can you not be? I mean, he puts on a show every night, and that's what I appreciate about not only blues musicians, but about his mentality is, I'm going to make sure that every single person in this house had a great time tonight, and felt like they had a great time and got their money's worth.
Yeah, I've never been one to buy Kid Rock albums. I had Devil Without a Cause, and I bought Rock and Roll Jesus just because my guitar player wrote half the album, and is now his lead guitarist. But anyway, I was never a huge buyer of his music, but I went to every tour of his since 99 or 2000, and even without knowing the lyrics to the songs, I couldn't sing along to everything, and I wasn't a super fan. I mean, our super fans are super fans, but you can always have a great time, and I could bring any one of my friends to have them join me to go see his shows, and everyone leaves going, oh my gosh, what an amazing entertainer.
Yeah.
That guy is such an incredible front man. But I feel the same way about Mick Jagger and people like that, where you really don't need to like the material.
Right.
But you will leave there so entertained, and I think Bob is incredible. I really do, and I'm really proud to stand behind him and do whatever I can to help the show.
Oh, and you do. And again, like you said, I mean, I went because my wife wanted to see him the first time, and I thought, okay, fine. It's
and
one
he
of the things
looks pretty good with the shirt off, not gonna lie.
That didn't do it for me. But again, the entertainer, I walked away from the show going, that was a great show. And again, that's why when the last time you guys came through town, it made it real easy for me to be able to tell people, go, you're going to have a good time. Whether you like Ba Wata Ba or anything, you're going to have a great time.
Yeah, it's a party, and there's such a cool camaraderie, I feel like, at the Kid Rock shows. And it's a lot like, I compare it to like going to a Kenny Chesney show or Jimmy Buffett, where they're selling a lifestyle. They're selling like this whole experience, as opposed to a bunch of strangers walking into a show and being basically disconnected from each other the whole time. But you're still having your own experience, and that's
right.
fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's just something bigger with him. Just is.
It really is. Mm-hmm. So when are we going to hear a new Shannon Curfman record? Have you been? I mean, you have a little bit of time in between. You're on the road. I gotta believe you're doing a little writing here and there.
I am, and I actually haven't written in years. Really, I haven't written a complete song in years. Just because it is so taxing doing what we do, and our schedule is a really grueling one. It's not. We just don't take many breaks, and when I do take a break and I'm home, the last thing I want to do is
work.
Anything other than hanging out with my daughter. So yeah, now it's finally starting to normalize a little bit for me, and now is when I'll get back into the studio.
Well, we look forward to that.
Thanks.
You said you've opened up for a lot of people. You're part of Kid Rock's band. Who haven't you worked with? Is there an artist or a producer or somebody you go, if I had my dream, I'd sing with that person and have that person produce me?
Holy buckets. I I think Sting would be a great producer. And I would love to. I haven't worked with Johnny Lang since I was in my early teens, 13 or 14. I would love to do. There's a song called "Maybe Your Baby" on. It's a Stevie Wonder song. I've always wanted to do that song with Johnny.
Johnny, if you're watching, I'm going to send you this video. You need to call your old friend Shannon.
Our relationship is pretty much all about our kids now.
Oh, I suppose.
And every time I go to a Johnny Lang show these days, I end up just staying in the bus, hanging out with all the kids and bringing Lucy, and they don't have a huge interest in going into the show, so we always hang out on the bus, and I always miss it. But I guess that's part of growing up. I don't know.
Has your mini-me, and again, she looks so much, I was telling Sarah about Lucy. Again, she's got the bright red hair. She's got Mama's smile. Has she shown any musical inclination like Mom?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty scary, actually. She's got years on me. I mean, I think she's going to really start taking it seriously much earlier than
you did, even?
Yeah. Yeah. So
is that a good thing or a bad thing? Since you've literally grown up in the business.
I feel pretty lucky to have had it how I have, and I mean, I make a living playing music. I mean, that's all I wanted.
Right. And you're doing it.
All I wanted. And yeah, I can definitely see that for her. And it's nice, like, my parents did a great job, but they had nothing to do with the music industry. My mother worked for the IRS. My father is a train engineer. But they made it work where it would be a little more effortless, I think, and not as much worry from the parent standpoint. Right. I was able to be on the road and successfully never see a drug, never take a drink, and not only because, not because people were watching me or, telling me I couldn't, but because I just was so in love with music. It's all I wanted, and so I think if, you have the right people around you to keep that perspective and not tarnish all that, you're doing pretty good.
I think Lucy's got a pretty good role model to grow up under.
Yeah, we'll see.
Shannon Curfman, do you want to see more interviews like this? You can go to our website and go to our YouTube channel. Thanks a lot, Shannon.
Thank you.